everyone, the Demon Gamer is here today, and I'm doing YouTube videos. What an excitement. Well, it's not going to be the best of videos. I'm also going to be talking about Christopher Moon, because I just don't know how I'm going to get better, because he has declared something that I don't know if I can do with that or not.
Roblox is a huge and expansive world with a large and sprawling online community. Starting in 2006 officially, it is now one of the largest sandbox games online. The biggest appeal of Roblox is the large amount of user-generated content, where players can create their own games and items in the platform. Of course, with so much content, it would appear that players can do anything, or so it seems. In this video, we will take a look at some of the rumors, myths, and glitches that exist in Roblox.
You guys ready?
Before we begin, though, don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer for more engaging and exciting videos on the games you love to play.
Most people I know are Roblox fans. Some people I know play Minecraft in my
One of Roblox's main selling points is the user-generated shop where
Roblox.
users can add things to the store and sell them to other players. There are a variety of things you can dress your avatar in, from hats to skins and costumes. Of course, that can also come with its own variety of myths and legends. Back in 2011, it was reported that something called a Void Dominus was released. The item in the shop only showed a question mark along with no description. The item was quickly removed from the shop, but 3 people managed to purchase the item. 2 of the users' accounts were terminated, but 1 user was named Merely. What's strange about this item, though, is that the owners of the item on the Roblox webpage will just say Roblox and not list the users. Going to Merely's account to look at their inventory, there is no such item labeled question mark or missing Dominus.
Weekend warriors.
Oh, come on! Come on!
With a sport hood, a custom grill, and 20-inch black aluminum wheels, the Ram 1500 Warlock cleans up real nice.
Users have even used the Wayback Machine to try and find proof that this question mark or missing Dominus item even existed. Today, most Roblox users just write it off as either a myth or just some attempt at a creepypasta or other internet legend. Even more likely, this could just be an attempt for this Merely user to try and get some recognition for having a super rare item. The Witching Hour. We're sure some of you have seen the latest trend on YouTube. Hundreds of videos claiming paranormal stuff happens at 3 a.m. Whether it's spinning a fidget spinner, calling the boss baby, or both, the concept has become sort of a meme at this point. It has been mislabeled the witching hour because it is believed that is when old practitioners of magic would practice their craft. But the time is actually midnight. The 3 a.m. hour is actually called the dead hour, when no church services or ceremonies are scheduled to perform. That said, doing the dreaded activity has even made it to Roblox. There's a rumor where if you play at 3 a.m., spooky and weird stuff will happen. Oddities range from John Doe coming to terminate your account to an attempted hacking, but so far there's no evidence of such a thing happening in the game. To put this theory to the test, a user by the name of Enzo played a game of Survive a Natural Disaster at 3 a.m. and recorded his findings. Nothing out of the ordinary happened, aside from a simple lag spike, but that's hardly paranormal. We guess this just goes to show nothing paranormal can happen online. Now, if you want to spend the night in a cemetery, be our guest.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we are very excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from The Richest, Screen Rant, The Taco, The Sportster, The Things, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. Check out the Premium by clicking this link. Sign up for free and start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels.
No, thank you.
Error 45229. No online game is safe from the notorious game-jacking hack or cheat, where something happens and your account is compromised. It stems from the very real possibility that your account could be scammed or hacked. There are variations of this in other games like Minecraft's Herobrine, but Roblox has its own version, Error 45229. There are 2 versions of this story. In one version, a player is given a link that says, "Please play this," followed by a suspicious link. This already seems like a common phishing tactic hackers use to get personal information from players, but it goes on. It's said that after you receive the link, weird things begin to happen and your computer crashes. After the computer reboots, the player will then log in to find that they are in a game called You're a Fool to Run FR45229MS. Now, from here, the player's avatar changes and everything with the player's name turns to 45229. Of course, there is no confirmed report of that actually happening, though there is a game called You Were a Fool to Run FR 45229MS, and the owner of the game is 45229. The game seems to recreate the events of the myth as accurately as possible, but like all spooky game-jacking tales, this one is just a myth. Guessed 666. Perhaps the most notorious number, aside from 13, is 666, the number 13? Of the beast. Quoted in rock songs, scripture, and other works of horror, the number 666 is one of the calling cards of the devil himself. And as a result, anything with 666 in it is supposed to evoke a sense of fear and dread. Admittedly, it is kind of cute to see something involving 666 in a game like Roblox. It's like when a little kid dresses up as the devil for Halloween. It's just adorable. In Roblox, there is a prevailing myth about Guest 666. According to the rumors, it's said that Guest 666 is a guest that possesses all the admin.
I have all the power in the universe. I almost messed up on that one.
Oh, come on.
All the power in the universe. That is assassin.
Admin powers in any game, essentially making him omnipotent. One of the signs that you know he is here is because in your game, instead of saying a friendly guest, it will say an evil guest. Many Roblox YouTubers have claimed to have met Guest 666 in their games, and some even claim to have chatted with this fabled evil guest. Of course, when you try to put this to the test, it's probably going to be met with obvious failure. Some users have even gone so far as to change their avatar's name and edit the code of the game to try and give themselves admin powers.
It was met with nothing.
Bummer. Smile. Smiling is creepy. While it can convey joy, happiness, and overall positivity, in certain circumstances, it can be just downright creepy. Many creepypastas and internet legends stem from unnerving smiles. Just look at Jeff the Killer and Smile.jpg. Roblox, of course, has its own version of Smile, and while some may believe it is some weird supernatural force, it is actually just a hoax. As the story goes, like all internet horror stories, it starts with a random message. Players can sometimes get messages from a player called Smile. The message will read something along the lines of, "Please play this game," with a link to a game, which, if we can talk a bit about scams, don't click on links you get from strangers. Just don't do it. Ever. Anyway, so the player clicks on this link to a game, and the player is transported to a black room with something off in the distance. This thing ends up being a disembodied Roblox head with red splotches for eyes. According to the myth, if you touch the head, your computer crashes. Like with the other lies on this list, there are copies of this game found on Roblox, and none of them cause your computer to crash. You're just left with a slightly off-putting floating head. Oobly. By now, we think that you, dear viewer, might be catching on to a trend when it comes to these lies and rumors you hear on Roblox. Let's see if you can spot the trend in this one. So, according to this rumor, while players go about their normal shenanigans, they will be messaged by a player named Oobly. If the player ignores this message, eventually they will receive another that says, "Save me." If you respond, it is said you will get an invite to her game. Can we just pause for a moment and talk about how these rumors and myths seem to amount to people begging you to try out their game? Anyway, when you accept her invite, she will message you saying, "Thank you for saving me." The player's avatar will then turn all black, and Oobly will have everything you had in your inventory. We've seen this kind of game-jacking nonsense back with error 45229, but here it is slightly different. Nevertheless, this is a complete lie. The only way players can gain access to other people's inventory is if they have the password. So, as long as you don't give out your password to everyone, you'll be safe. For the most part, anyway. Lisa's. Online harassment and bullying are some of the biggest problems all gamers face today. No one likes it, everyone gets it. The only real thing to do is ignore it and not let the toxic players get to you. Sometimes this can be easier said than done. According to this story, back in 2007, there were two players, Malarina and Lazasia. These two were reported and bullied a lot for seemingly no reason. One day, the two decided to go into a game and simply say, "Tick tock, revenge will come."
Okay, that's a little much.
Never to be seen again. Roblox banned the two accounts soon after, but Lazasia made a new account, the Lisa's account, which is apparently still active to this day. Along with an active profile, Lisa's apparently has a game you can play. The game seems to be a dungeon crawl of sorts, filled with weird, creepy imagery and things you would expect to find in some low-budget supernatural horror.
What the heck?
According to the story, if you type in Lisa's is fake, the game will auto-kick you. This little theory has been tested, and while there is a game connected to the Lisa's story, it in no way confirms the tale to be true. The first player. In the beginning, there was nothing. Without form, void, and darkness. Then the mod said, let the servers go online. And so it was, and it was good. Every online game in existence has to have a first player. Usually, it's the developers themselves or the play testers in the early alpha and beta stages. But of course, there have to be stories like this one. While Roblox officially launched in 2006, there are stories that the first player signed on in 2004. According to the story, his name was Jerry. He was later terminated and replaced with Roblox. Nobody knows why he was terminated. More to that matter, it seems no one can really recall why this is even a worthwhile story, but we digress. Searching the player database, while there are hundreds of Jerrys, none of them seem to have existed earlier than 2006, making this story, once again, completely false. This story seems to share a lot of elements with the story of the admin. The story of the admin is less of a story and more of how games are tested before launch. It's an interesting...
Come on! Come on! I don't want ads in my videos.
Interesting idea, but sadly, it is not based in fact. Vault 8166. Every online game, unfortunately, has hackers and cheaters.
I didn't encounter with a hacker.
This is a harsh truth.
I had an encounter with a hacker in Minecraft on my
Thankfully,
Wii U, and I'm
those
like,
types of gamers are
this
in the
guy
very,
literally won
very
every
small
single match.
minority.
He was a...
That being said,
He didn't look like a hacker, but
there's a group
still
of
he
hackers in
was.
Roblox,
I can tell you
they
that.
congregate in the mysterious Vault 8166. Vault 8166 is a
Yeah,
group of hackers that meet in a level that only the members have a link to. Supposedly, if anyone can get in the game, they can do anything. This includes banning people, changing players' outfits and inventories, and even creating viruses. Of course, since the story broke, there have been multiple copies, but so far all of them have turned out to be fakes or just recreations to try and fit the story. There have been players who have documented their journey into these levels, while some of them are made out to be creepy or weird. Nothing in those levels gave players the power to do any of the things that were mentioned in the story. I mean, if you really think about it, if there was a group of Roblox hackers out there, would they really make their secret levels so easily accessible? Gods.
This is the last one, guys.
Perhaps the only thing more notoriously creepy than smiling are clowns.
That's true.
They are everywhere in the media. In fact, we had a huge influx of them in 2016.
Wait, what?
Whether they're portrayed in the media, stalking innocent people in the park, or
No.
being Clowns are scary to a lot of people.
Changed my opinion of
Because of
clowns
this, Roblox
forever.
has its own creepy clown legend in the form of Gods. He is supposedly the spirit of an evil clown, which is already sounding a bit suspicious. If you've watched this far, you know that the idea of supernatural forces existing on the internet are ridiculous. But nevertheless, let's move on. Gods naturally has a game where you are transported to his house where your character is killed in unique ways. Afterward, you are said to get personal messages saying things like, just reminding you of your appointment at insert time. This is to imply that you will be killed again in the game. All in all, this is most likely just a character another player is playing to scare or freak out newer or younger players. We think if the killer clown was real, he wouldn't be playing Roblox. He would be right behind you.
Jesus, that scares me.
And those were some of the rumors and myths surrounding Roblox you might have heard about. Did any of these pique your interests? Did you have a Roblox myth you'd like to share? If you do, please let us know down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer and check out our playlist for more videos on the games that you love to play. Thanks for watching.
Well, that was cool. We also have the other one, guys, which is 10 lies that were told about Minecraft. I don't even think anyone's actually seen this. I'm gonna be skipping the ads because I don't care.
Minecraft has taken the gaming world by storm since its release in 2011. There is...
Oh, oh, come on. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. Come on. Stop moving my stuff and let me do what I want.
There's so much to do in Minecraft and so much to learn. From made-up stories to legendary mobs to unorthodox mining techniques, there are many lies out there that you may have believed to be true. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our awesome videos and click that bell to become part of our notification squad. Animal spawner cages. If you've ever gone into an abandoned mine shaft before or simply looked through all of the blocks available in creative mode, you most likely have seen monster spawners before. Monster spawners, obviously, spawn mobs that are in the tiny one-block cage. The only mobs which can be spawned through these types of monster spawners are spiders, cave spiders, zombies, skeletons, blazes, silverfish, and pigs. For some reason, even though all of the other mobs are hostile, there are pig monster spawners out there. Since the pig monster spawner exists, the community went to great lengths to show us there are spawners for every single entity in the game. If you want a horse spawner, it's possible. A village spawner? No problem. Some Minecraft YouTubers even posted videos showing these spawners in action. A lot of players said that you don't even need to access commands to find these special monster spawners, but that is a flat-out lie. While it is possible to allow any entity in the game to spawn from a monster spawner, you have to access commands to make it happen. There are plenty of tutorials on how to make this happen, just be prepared to learn some new commands. Gold is useless. Gold gets a bad rap from the Minecraft community. In real life, it's a sought-after commodity which can fetch you a pretty hefty price if you ever get your hands on it. In Minecraft, many people believe it doesn't live up to its real-world quality. While that may be true, just like everything has its uses in Minecraft, so does gold. Yes, the durability of gold weapons is terrible. It's even worse than wooden weapons, but that doesn't mean it has no use. Golden pickaxes can actually mine faster than diamond pickaxes. Gold armor isn't too bad either. It's more durable than leather, and the defense it gives you isn't half bad. Its defense rating is slightly worse than chainmail by 1 point and much better than leather. While gold may be disappointing regarding tools and weapons, that is not its primary use. 6 gold ingots are used to create powered rails to make traveling much easier. Gold may seem useless, but there are plenty of awesome gadgets which require gold to craft. Mobs only spawn at night. This one may be more common with Minecraft noobs, but even some veterans may not know of this seemingly obvious lie. Many Minecraft players tend to believe hostile mobs can only spawn at night, but that is not the case at all. Hostile mobs can spawn anywhere that it's dark. This could be at night, in a cave, or even in your own house if your lighting isn't sufficient. Waking up to a creeper's hiss in the mansion you took hours to complete isn't fun for anybody. How the game determines whether a hostile mob can spawn or not is quite interesting. It's important to know any tile that has a light level below 7 can spawn a mob. The highest light level you can obtain is a 15, and only the sun emits a light level of 15. Torches emit a light level of 14, and mobs can only spawn 7 blocks away from a torch or more. That is why it's important to bring some torches with you wherever you go. Whether you need some light in your newly built hut away from home or simply exploring an enormous mine, torches always come in handy.
First, turn your head to the left. Then, turn your head to the right. If someone offers you ice cream, donuts, or cake, repeat the steps, then speed up.
Andy. Hey guys, we are very excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from the richest, Screen Rant, The Taco, The Sportster, The Things, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. Check out the Premium by clicking this link. Sign up for free and start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels. Rare ore spawns more near lava. This is a lie that goes back to when Minecraft first began. The amount of players who believe rare ore spawns more near lava is way too high, so after watching this video, you will learn the truth and stop the spreading of lies. Seeing lava is important for understanding what layer you're in, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there are rare ores around the lava pit. Seeing lava means you're at a level where rare ores such as diamond can be mined, but that doesn't mean you have to try and mine your way around lava to find these rare ores. Instead, it's probably better to start your own branch away from the lava and see if you find any diamonds. Just make sure to listen to the sounds around you. If you hear lava bubbling, you're coming very close to lava and may want to move your branch into a different direction to avoid a swift and painful death. In other words, lava is simply an indicator that rare ore can spawn at that level and lower. It's not worth risking your life for some rare ore which may or may not be there if you can safely mine for it instead. There are more than 3 strongholds in a world. Strongholds are structures that occur naturally underground and are important because they house end portals. The end portals are the only way you can access the end, where you can challenge the Ender Dragon, among many other things. These strongholds are littered with silverfish who are much more dangerous than those little slithering bugs you see in your bathroom tiles every once in a while. When Minecraft was first released for PC, Mac, and Linux, it's true there were only 3 strongholds in a single world, but that is no longer the case. With the 1.9 combat update released in December of 2016, Mojang Mojang added 125 more strongholds to each world, so there are now 128 strongholds in every world. That's over 42 times more strongholds, which is absolutely ridiculous. You should have absolutely no trouble finding a stronghold now, that's for sure. Sadly, in the console version, there are still only 3 strongholds in every world, so console players are gonna have to wait a little bit longer before they get the extra 125 strongholds, if they get them at all. Mojang has always updated the PC, Mac, and Linux versions of Minecraft first, so that's no surprise. Bedrock can be broken by a pickaxe in 13 hours. This is one of the more interesting rumors to have spread throughout the Minecraft community. According to Minecraft forum user Acreos90, it takes 13 hours to mine bedrock using a diamond pickaxe and 42 hours using anything else. Imagine actually trying to hold down a left click for 13 to 42 hours. That is almost impossible. Not many people will be willing to sit in front of a computer for nearly 24 days doing absolutely nothing and never getting distracted. That's just taking the saying, "you have no life," to a whole new level. It must be so disappointing to get to hour 41 and accidentally release the right click. That would be heartbreaking. Anyway, since this all seems downright impossible, it was obviously fake. To give him some credit, his post is completely believable with made-up statistics and even some fake lines of code to prove his numbers are completely legitimate. A casual player may believe his false claims, but veterans were quick to call him out on this blatant lie. Other forum users started pulling the leg of those who were quick to believe Acreos' 90s claims, but no one in their right mind was ever going to attempt to replicate his findings, if that's what we can call them. Enchanting a sword with looting 3 will massively increase the chance of a rare drop. Enchanting is a very useful mechanic in the Minecraft endgame. As you gain experience points and level up, you can use the levels you've gained throughout your adventure to enchant your weapons at an enchanting table. You lose your levels in the process, but depending on the enchantment, it will be a worthwhile decision. The most popular enchantments are Unbreaking, Sharpness, Protection, and Looting. While the first 3 have their important uses, it is the Looting enchantment that is the most controversial. Each enchantment has 3 levels, so you would figure Looting 3 would massively increase the chance of a rare drop, but that is not the case. Looting is quite useful for uncommon drop. If you kill an uncommon mob with a Looting 3 enchanted weapon and they do not drop anything uncommon, the game will force another drop with a 75% chance of getting an uncommon drop. In terms of rare drops, Looting 3 only increases the chances by 5.5%. The chance of equipment drops raises by 11.5%. Overall, it's not a bad enchantment, but it doesn't belong in the upper echelon. In fact, we don't recommend you waste your experience on the Looting enchantment at all unless there is nothing better available. Hostile mobs will not spawn above a certain elevation. Another lie you may have been told regarding monster spawning is hostile mobs will not spawn above a certain elevation. As we've already mentioned, monsters can spawn on any block with a light level lower than 7. That means even if you're above the clouds or on the peak of the tallest mountain in your world, as long as the light level is below 7, hostile mobs will spawn. To create a dark room monster spawner, you have to make sure you are not within 24 blocks of a block with a light level below 7. A nice 24 by 24 space would leave plenty of room for hostile mobs to spawn. Many players report hostile mobs stop spawning once your Y coordinate is at 128 or higher, which is also completely false. To check your coordinates, you press F3 and it will also tell you your frame rate among other important information. There is no limit as to how high a player can go in their created world. Some players reported going higher than Y1000 and still being able to spawn hostile mobs. It's interesting as to why players spread these rumors that are untrue with no proof to back up their statements. Layer 12 is the best for branch mines because that's where diamonds spawn often. Minecraft players are always looking for the quickest way to obtain diamond, the most valuable ore in the entire game. Many players have created large mine shaft branches at every layer to see which one has the most diamond. A lot of players believe layer 12 is the layer where the most diamonds spawn in a new world. While that is not completely incorrect, it is far from the truth. The reason why so many Minecraft players believe layer 12 is the most diamond-filled layer is because of the way we create our mine shafts. Most of us dig straight to bedrock and then work our way up, and since layer 12 is the lowest layer of the diamond sweet spot, it's always the first to be found. The sweet spot for diamonds is anywhere between layer 5 and 12, so you don't necessarily need to focus on layer 12 to mine diamonds. It can be found anywhere throughout those 8 layers. A better better way to create these mine shafts is to build it up to layer 12 and place torches within layers 5 to 12 so you know where you need to mine. Well, at least now, you know the truth. Herobrine. Almost every Minecraft player has heard of the legend of Herobrine. Herobrine is rumored to be a hostile mob found in Minecraft, but he makes no appearance in the game's code. Since he is not in the game's code, he can't appear in any unmodded clients or servers. Herobrine looks exactly like the default skin Steve, but with piercing white eyes. It wasn't until Brocraft streamer Copeland photoshopped Herobrine in some screenshots that he became a popular figure. Supposedly, Copeland retextured a painting to make it look like Herobrine, and freaked out by screaming and ending the stream once he noticed the painting. Many Minecraft players believed this was legit, but it wasn't. Streamer Patamus also tried to get in on the Herobrine hoax by retexturing a door to make it look like a freestanding version of Herobrine. Patamus ran away after seeing Herobrine, reloaded the world, and Herobrine disappeared. Patamus could later be heard talking to his wife about the whole thing, claiming it was all fake. All of this led to Herobrine's incredible rise in popularity. Many people have created creepypastas about Herobrine, claiming his origins as a ghost, Notch's dead brother, and a fired Mojang employee. It's crazy how one image can get the world talking. It would have been awesome if some of these lies were true. Let us know of any lies that we might have missed about Minecraft in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with our awesome playlist. Thanks for watching.
So guys, I'll be looking for the next video. Hey guys, welcome! I found our next video!
Keep up, Dallas!
I'm just gonna skip that.
There's one aspect of gaming most players hate even more than lag. The infuriating and obnoxious cheater.
Yeah,
While the majority of gamers are content to grind through the ranks in order to level up, some players are tempted by an easy win. Fortunately, cheating does not always pay off, and some developers found new and creative ways to humiliate cheaters. That's why we've put together a list of 10 games which humiliate players for cheating. Before we watch these cheaters get humiliated, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay up to date with fresh content from the gamer. Number 10. Ark Survival Evolved. Gameplay in Ark hinges on the open world in which players can encounter other gamers. Since one of the main goals is survival, working alongside others and creating alliances is a surefire way to fend off imminent death. If a player is lucky, they'll only come across friendly gamers who are well equipped and interested in teamwork. After all, surviving for as long as possible is definitely better than losing the game immediately. There are also other types of players hell-bent on creating destruction wherever they go. In a game like Ark, a player like that could ruin the entire game for everyone. In Ark Survival Evolved, a player going by the name Ricky was ruining everyone's good time by using a series of slurs and being generally abusive. He wasn't technically cheating, but he was certainly going out of his way to destroy the other player's experiences. The players opted to lock him in a wooden cage until he behaved. The best part is the developers outlined how to hold another player hostage in their FAQs. Since players can't commit suicide and respawn, Ricky was trapped until he decided to play nice, and his captors fed him so he could not die naturally. After 10 hours in a cell, Ricky decided to behave. Number 9. Banjo-Kazooie. A certain level of cheating was allowed in 90s games. Cheat codes and game genies were available for most players, so getting a small boost in a game wasn't entirely unheard of. In fact, cheat codes are included by game developers and are intended for players to use. Banjo-Kazooie had its fair share of cheat codes which were allowed by developers. Since some cheat codes were standard, it probably figured every gamer would boost their gameplay at least a little bit. Now, the Game Shark was a cartridge created for the Nintendo 64, and it allowed players to load up on cheat codes. Once the Game Shark was filled with as many codes as a player wanted, they could simply use the Game Shark to load cheat codes onto a console's external or internal memory. When players loaded the actual game, it would apply all the applicable cheat codes. Banjo-Kazooie developers must have thought that this went too far. To combat this, if the game recognized the player was entering too many codes, Gruntilda would appear and warn the players against cheating so much. In fact, she threatens to erase a player's saved game file, and no, she is definitely not playing around. If that's not a cheating deterrent, we don't know what is. Number 8. Max Payne 3. Cheaters typically attempt to get ahead of their competition and will find a way around the rules.
Hey Bob, come and shoot some balloons with me. No bro, I'm busy right now. I just
rules in order to win. If they're playing alone, they're really only cheating themselves out of the best gaming experience. They certainly won't get any better at the game if they depend on cheats to get ahead. If they're playing with other gamers, however, they run the risk of ruining gameplay for honest players. In Max Payne 3, a substantial amount of players were cheating to the point where it caused Rockstar to make a semi-official announcement. The gaming company was tired of a handful of cheaters ruining the game for other players. Using hacked saves, modded games, and other means to beat out the competition, cheaters were ruining the gaming experience for a lot of people. Rockstar came up with a sufficient solution which would take care of the cheaters while still profiting off of them. If a player was caught cheating in Max Payne 3, it would be very difficult for them to find a server to play on. Annoying? Very much so. But Rockstar didn't stop there. Instead of banning a player outright, they were shuttled off to a different server filled with other cheaters. Cheating is only worthwhile if a player is winning. If everyone else is on level playing ground, then no one's having fun. Number 7. Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is probably the last game anyone would associate with cheating. After all, it's supposed to be a laid-back, fun game for all ages. The only cheater in this game should be Tom Nook with his outrageous prices. So how could a player cheat in a game like Animal Crossing? Most players are aware of resetting a game in order to take back some previously made poor choices. Paid too many bells for that apple-shaped television? Of course! Simply turn the game off without saving it and go back to square one. While this doesn't exactly seem like cheating, Animal Crossing begs to differ. Once the game is restarted, players will be welcomed back to their town by Resetti, an angry mole who lectures gamers on being rude. Apparently, Resetti considers setting the clock back the most offensive action a player can take. If a gamer continues to reset the game in order to mess with the progress of the game, they will be met by Resetti once again. Resetti will lecture players every single time and grow increasingly more angered with each reset. Eventually, Resetti will force the cheating player to issue an apology if they reset the game too many times. This mole sure does make mountains out of molehills. Number 6. Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It's no secret the fighting game scene is pretty competitive. With online ranked gameplay and regular competitions, players want to make sure they're at the top of their game. Buffing up a player's rank should prove to be difficult if the developers set up the game appropriately. In Marvel vs. Capcom 3, however, some players were easily tempted to find a way around the system registering their losses. Much like the cheat used in Animal Crossing, a handful of gamers decided to try and reset their game after a loss. By disconnecting their games from the internet immediately after a loss, these gamers thought that they would be able to cheat the system. Unfortunately for them, they weren't the only ones who thought of essentially resetting the game in order to cheat their way to the top. While it may have seemed as though they were cheating the system, Capcom had already thought some players would attempt to exploit the internet reset flaw. Capcom kept track. If a player's internet connection would consistently cut out on them, Capcom would become suspicious. Then, they'd send these cheaters to a special server filled with other rage-quitting internet disconnectors. It's definitely hard to enjoy a game when all of the players constantly disconnect from the game when it isn't going their way. Number 5. Slender, The Arrival. Cheating on a horror game just seems like a bad idea overall. First of all, the entire point of a horror game is to be completely terrified. Alright, survival is also key, but attempting to deceive a character who's trying to kill a player, however, does seem to defeat the purpose of the game. Then again, a cheater's main goal is to win no matter the cost. It's a shame that developers have to anticipate some players will attempt to cheat at their games and plan accordingly. That's just what the developers of Slender, The Arrival did, though. In the game, there's a glitch which allows players to jump outside the borders of the map. This is seemingly an effective way to deceive Slender Man and escape his wrath. Unfortunately for cheaters, the game doesn't work that way. When a player utilizes this glitch and map jumps, they're met with no ground. Instead of escaping Slender Man's clutches, players are dropped to
Dear death. Yeah.
to their death. To top that off, the game taunts cheaters during their death, saying, "Not even a bug in this game will save you from me." It finishes off with a hideous screeching sound, which should scare any cheater senseless and hopefully scare them off of cheating again in the future. Number 4,
true.
Titanfall. What is it with first-person shooters and cheaters?
Because
If a player
like
can't progress their skill level in game, perhaps they should reconsider their preferred genre. Players who spend countless hours training in order to compete in their favorite first-person shooters should not be tortured by aimbotting cheaters. Nevertheless, this is an issue which seems to continuously follow the first-person shooter community. Whether it's Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Overwatch, or Titanfall, it seems like aimbotters pop up enough for the developer to take notice. If honest players are lucky, these cheaters will be caught and punished accordingly. Now that's precisely what EA did when a cheating epidemic caught their attention. Instead of banning cheaters outright, EA decided players using aimbots and other cheating methods would probably benefit more from rehabilitation. Cheaters were forced to play against other cheaters only. To ensure that cheaters weren't tainting the rest of the community, if a player wanted to play with their friend who was a cheater, they'd be stuck playing with cheaters too. Sure, they could still play the game, but getting a huge dose of their own medicine more than likely diminished their good times. Think of it like quarantine for aimbots. Number 3. Witcher 3. As most players know, getting in-game currency can be a bit tedious at times. Why would anyone want to work for virtual currency after a long, hard day at the office earning real cash? Well, that's where cheaters come into play. Some cheaters are looking for an easy way to gain currency without a lot of effort. Witcher 3 players found an easy way to make cash. Killing cows and selling their leather garnered a decent amount of pay. But the problem was, a player would have to wait an hour in Witcher time for the cows to respawn so they could cull the herd again. Seems fair enough. But some players decided to milk this cash cow for all it was worth. By skipping forward an hour in time, cows would magically reappear only to be mercilessly slaughtered all over again. Unfortunately, the developers weren't too impressed by the endless slaughter of cows. The developers decided to unleash some wrath on cow killers. Cheaters who take out too many cows will be met by the Bovine Defense Force Initiative. No, this is not some troop of armed guards. It's a giant cow monster which stomps cheaters into the ground, and they don't stop coming either. If endless cow monsters don't stop a cheater in their tracks, nothing will. Number 2. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Link is generally considered a good character. He goes out of his way to help people, defeats enemies, and leads a noble existence whenever possible. When cheaters come to mind, he's not the first character people would suspect being used for evil. The intentions of the character can be ignored by cheaters, however, and this leaves Link vulnerable to temptation. He's capable of stealing throughout the franchise, but this doesn't mean that every player will allow him to do so. In Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, Link can enter the town tool shop in Maybe Village. Once there, he will most likely be tempted to buy a bow, but the price of 980 rupees is just too steep. Players who are less than honest may be tempted to steal the bow, but it's really not worth it. Once Link turns to a life of crime, he's forever labeled as a thief. Literally. Whatever name was chosen for him in the beginning will be replaced with thief, and every NPC will address him as such. If Link attempts to enter the town tool shop again, he will be instantly killed by the shop owner in an electrical attack. It just goes to show that crime never pays. Number 1. Grand Theft Auto 5. It seems kind of hypocritical for a game in the Grand Theft Auto series to be against cheating. After all, it's a game whose entire gameplay is based on the life of crime. The title is named after a crime. Killing's to be expected. Theft is pretty standard, so cheating is probably the least of these characters' concerns. Nevertheless, cheating is frowned upon in the Grand Theft Auto community. Perhaps there really is honor amongst thieves after all. If a player is caught being a bad sport, the game takes notice. Blow up another player's car multiple times? Rage quit on group missions and leave the team hanging? Those aren't principles the game wants you to have. For starters, the game attaches a dunce cap to a player's head to send them a message. Their behavior is stupid, and it makes them look stupid. If that's not enough to change a player's salty attitude, the game has other means of punishing people. A player can glitch their single-player mode car into online mode. It's technically cheating, and the game doesn't like it. It'll give the player a small window to enjoy their victory until it unleashes an explosion and blows the car and player to bits. Who thought cheating in a game about crime would ever be an issue? Not us. Have you ever lost a game to a cheater? How do you think that cheaters should be punished? Let us know in the comments, and as always, don't forget to check out our playlist. Thanks for watching.
Okay, let's look at our next video. Rage quitters.
You haven't been training on Pixelings? Well, get on it! Because ranked PvP matches are live. Don't call yourself a gamer unless you're top tier in PewDiePie's Pixel.
No, I don't care.
Have you ever gotten so mad at a video game that you just shut off your system completely? You were in the middle of an intense match and through divine intervention, someone somehow got the better of you? Well, that's not the end of the world. We've all rage quit at some point, but would you rage quit if there were actually consequences for your actions?
No.
That's why we've compiled a list of video games that punish you for rage quitting. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our awesome videos and click that bell to become part of our notification squad. Halo. One of the first games to bring online play to the masses, the Halo series has always taken pride in itself on their varied game modes and top-notch gameplay. Every iteration of the franchise improves on the next. Because the series functions around this style, and since it's a first-person shooter, you'll naturally have some people who leave because they're upset or aren't doing well.
Yeah,
To be fair, if they're really playing badly, the team would probably be better off without them anyway. Keep the strong and cut off the weak. It's survival of the fittest in the video game world. More often than not, the result for rage quitting is that you'll be temporarily banned from matchmaking. That's not too bad, but in Halo 5 Guardians, the penalty became a little more intricate. Quitting in the middle of a match is just one of the misbehaviors that can actually be reported, just like hacking or using inappropriate language. If you continue, you could get an extremely long ban at anywhere from a full day to an entire week. Best if you try to keep your nose clean then.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. Wii U.
I ain't playing that game.
While Super
Actually,
Smash
I will,
Bros.
but I
Brawl
will
was
not
a
be-
lot to learn in terms of
not
how it
being,
handled
like,
online play,
alone.
Super Smash Bros. For Wii U had worked out most of the kinks. The almost unavoidable
If I'm
lag
playing
from
against
Brawl
other
was not
actual people,
nearly
I
as
will not be
prevalent in
playing
Super
that. I'll
Smash
be
Bros. For
playing
Wii U.
against
Among these
CPUs
changes
or
was a
me.
penalty for people who decided to shut off their game in frustration or leave because they were upset. The next time you go to boot up a game, you'll receive a notification that you can't play online for 10 minutes. That's pretty much the standard penalty for multiplayer games. However, you can't just shut off the Wii U and do something else for those few minutes. You can't just turn off the console and make yourself a sandwich. The game has to be running in that time for you to be allowed to go back in. You could still make the sandwich, just make sure the game is still running first. The only sad part about this is that the penalty is active if you accidentally disconnect, but that is unavoidable for a lot of games because it's difficult to know whether or not it's by choice or because of your terrible internet connection. Street Fighter V. Rage quitting is a serious problem for some games, and Street Fighter V is one of them. To be honest, many fighting games are full of rage quitters whining about unfair matchmaking. Due to the nature of the mechanics, some people will learn the combos in and out, while others are left behind in the dust. Practice makes perfect, but some gamers expect to be the cream of the crop within a few hours, which is incredibly unrealistic. This leads many to get utterly creamed before they even know what hit them. More bodying means more rage quitters. Ever since the game released, there's been a big problem with these kinds of players. Because of this, Capcom took extreme measures to make sure that it wouldn't happen as much. Any person who rage quits will be banned from online matchmaking, around 24 hours for a few infractions. They'll lose 1,000 league points and will be branded with a special symbol to let all other players know that they're fighting a rage quitter. Capcom is doing the right thing here because a quitting mentality most certainly should not be accepted. It turns out the most powerful punch in Street Fighter V doesn't come from any of the characters. For Honor. For Honor is one of the more recent brawler games. You take the role of a historical soldier and you fight other types of warriors in a match to the death. As you can imagine, this can lead to some very one-sided fights where the person getting the short end of the stick will want to do nothing but leave the match in a whining rage. While it didn't have a rage quit penalty at first, For Honor listened to the community and now implements a somewhat fair system to prevent it from happening. If someone tries to quit an online match, they'll receive a warning that they'll be banned from matchmaking for 10 minutes. The classic "Are you sure?" quit screen appears, and it gives the players a choice. If they go through with it, then they get the ban. If they're the leader of a group, then everyone in that group is subject to the ban, which is a little unfair. Why does the entire group have to suffer for one player's rage quit? However, to prevent people with bad connections getting banned, there's a 30-second grace period at the start of each match, so it's not...
Nicorette Quick Miss gets to work on your cravings in just 60 seconds.
Not all bad. Splatoon 2. Nintendo has more recently been constructing games that lend themselves better to online play, and Splatoon 2 for the Switch is no exception. Being a direct sequel to the critically acclaimed Wii U game, Splatoon 2 builds upon the online formula of its predecessor. However, this means that Nintendo will be putting a rage quit penalty in place, something that wasn't present in the original game. If you leave or disconnect, you'll receive an expertly worded message about how that was pretty suspicious activity. If you leave again, then you'll be banned from the online play for 5 minutes, and the penalty does not get worse the more you rage quit. That doesn't sound too bad, but if you think about it, Turf War games only last 3 minutes, so you're potentially missing out on 2 full games of experience. That's a pretty big deal. The only problem with the system is that Nintendo can't tell if you rage quit or if your internet has connection issues, so you may get banned for something that was not even your fault. Maybe if they had a short grace period like in For Honor, their problems would be solved.
I
Overwatch.
guess I should do that.
With a massive
Black
game like
Team 3.
Overwatch, there's no doubt that people will be leaving matches for various reasons. Sometimes matches are long, so players don't play the whole game because they have other things to do. Either way, Blizzard felt that it was important to put a rage quit system in place to prevent players from leaving their teams out to dry. However, it's not quite as simple as banning people from the matchmaking. As a matter of fact, it's a bit more crippling. Overwatch prides itself on progression. You gain more experience to unlock more items for your characters and get more points to spend. If you continuously leave in the middle of a match, then you'll receive a brutal penalty that affects how much experience you gain. You'll end up receiving 75% less experience if you continue to leave while in an online game. Blizzard are most certainly not fooling around. They know rage quitting is a problem, and this incredibly harsh penalty might do the trick. The only way to resolve this is to have a better ratio of completed games, which could take quite some time depending how far gone you are. So if you play Overwatch, make sure you play until completion. League of Legends. League of Legends is a big multiplayer online battle arena that almost every gamer has heard of at one point or another. The game requires players to work together on the same team in order to claim victory. If one person isn't pulling their weight, the whole game could come crashing down. Everyone should know their role and do their best to fulfill that role. Because of this, the people in charge of the game created their own automated system to crack down on players who were abandoning their team in the middle of games. Titled Lever Buster, this system will activate if you leave in the middle of a game. Your first infraction will grant you a 6-minute ban on online play, which is not too bad. If you do it again, you'll receive a 15-minute ban, which is much worse, but still, time bans aren't incredibly effective methods to prevent rage quitting. That being said, if the game is ranked, then you'll lose 3 league points for the first and 10 league points for every infraction after that. Banning players for certain periods of time is not a big deal, but taking away league points is really harsh. Overall, it's a solid method to discourage players from leaving their teams. Animal Crossing. This game is not online-based, so you may be wondering why there's a rage quit penalty. Well, Animal Crossing functions on many time-oriented mechanics and difficult-to-find objects. This means you could be hunting for certain things on a particular time of day to make good progress in your playthrough. You'd be surprised at how much that tuna you caught might sell for. However, it's all too easy to screw up, lose money, or some other bad circumstance. It seems so simple to just shut the game off and turn it back on before any permanent damage is done then. Well, Mr. Resetti might have something to say about that. This mad mole will appear at your front door and give you a long lecture about how it's bad to just reset your game. You might just be the Animal Crossing parent you never had. Do this multiple times and he'll get even angrier, taking up even more of your precious time. Mr. Resetti is not one to be trifled with. Note to self, if you messed up trying to fish for a shark today, don't rage quit and turn off the game. Just try again tomorrow. Good things come to those who wait. Counter-Strike Global Offensive. One of the biggest...
Check, please. Well, that will be $65.
What? Multiplayer shooters of all time, Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out back in 2012 and still holds a massive count of players to this day. There's a ranked community, a casual community, and just about anything else you could possibly think of. Clearly, there has to be some systems in place to stop people from rage quitting all the time, since it's pretty much unavoidable in a first-person shooter. As it stands, CSGO will penalize you for leaving by restricting your access to the online matchmaking. You'll start with a small penalty of a few minutes, but it'll keep growing as you perform the action multiple times. Even if you haven't been banned in a long time, if you have a history of being banned, that penalty will be quite harsh. Many people have reported being banned for an entire week as a result of multiple disconnects or rage quits. We mentioned earlier that time bans aren't an effective way to end rage quitting, but a week-long ban might change our minds. That is an incredibly long amount of time, which might make a rage quitter change his ways for good. Perhaps it's better to just stay in the game. Rocket League. Rocket League is one of the most fast-paced games you can play today. Taking the role of rocket-propelled battle cars as you try to smack a ball into the other team's goal seems stupid on paper, but is excellent in reality. The explosion of the ball once your team is scored is so rewarding. Because of the nature of the game, it's spawned both a ranked and casual community. While there's no deserter penalty for casual play, the blow is softened by the fact that anyone can join any match in progress and the AI will take over in the meantime, so you won't be down a player for long. To be honest, the AI is quite terrible, but it's better than nothing until the new player is found. If you leave a ranked match, then you'll not only put your team down a man for the rest of the match, but you'll be banned from that mode for 15 minutes. It's not a massive penalty, easy, and it'll probably only work for those who only want to play ranked. That being said, at least Psyonix has done something to penalize rage quitters, which is more than most video games out there. Well, if that doesn't teach us rage quitting is never a good idea, we don't know what will. The power button should only be used once your gaming session is finished. Let us know of any other video games that punish you for rage quitting in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with our awesome playlist. Thanks for watching.
Here we go. Personally, one of my favorites.
For almost 30 years, Mario has been smashing bricks and crushing Goombas to collect the mysterious life-giving golden coins. But have you ever stopped to think about where these coins come from and why they're inside of bricks and other creatures in the Mushroom Kingdom? The answer to that question may be more mysterious and disturbing than you could ever imagine. But we can't take all the credit for bringing this theory to light. The original theory was proposed by Reddit user Samuel Earl 666, who discovered that the bricks and coins in the Mario games are more than simple props. They're the bodies and souls of those who have passed away in the Mushroom Kingdom. Which of course begs the question, why are Mario and Luigi harvesting souls? Now, I'm not a collector of souls, so you have nothing to worry about. Just click that big red subscribe button and you'll become one of the 748,000 plus subscribers of the gamer. Also ring that bell to become a part of our notification squad so you never miss a video. Welcome to Gameology, where we'll find out why Mario and Luigi are harvesting souls. Unless you're a gameologist, you probably don't spend your time obsessing about the origins of every little thing inside of a game, like the bricks, pipes, coins, and the endless items you find in a Super Mario game. But I do. It's actually written in my job description. One day, while looking through the instruction manual of the original Super Mario Bros., fans noticed something that would forever change the way we all look at Mario.
September 20th or something like that, where I actually show you.
The manual states that the inhabitants of the Mushroom Kingdom were turned into bricks. They were turned into bricks?
How in the what now?
To make matters worse, they weren't turned into any old bricks. They were turned into the bricks Mario smashes with the top of his head over and over and over and over again throughout his journey. I just don't get it. How in the hell did cute little toads and adorable angry Goombas turn into frickin' bricks? And why in the world do you get coins from breaking these bricks? For God's sake, Mario, they used to be people. I know plenty of bricks give Mario coins. It's a bit weird if you think about it. Mario breaks the remains of a person and gets rewarded for doing so with a coin. What kind of twisted world is this? It really makes you think about the relationship between the bricks and the coins. It's really odd that the people walking the Mushroom Kingdom turn to bricks in the afterlife. Could you imagine spending your afterlife as a boring brick?
Yeah,
waiting for Mario to show up and headbutt you into a million pieces, or punch you. Jury's still out on that. No, it's not. He punches him. It sounds truly horrible. Well, when you think about the afterlife, you usually think about the body and soul, right? Some believe that the soul stays in the body and never leaves. Others believe that the body and soul are separate, so when you pass away, your soul leaves your body and goes to heaven. Or hell, depending on the type of person you were. Some don't even believe that the soul exists at all. Now, coming back to the Mario world, if you hit a brick and a coin comes out, does that mean the coins are actually souls? Look, I know you're starting to question everything, including my sanity, but please stay with me, because to get to the bottom of this coins are actually souls business, I'm going to be looking at all the other ways you could get coins besides simply smashing bricks. For starters, you can get a good amount of coins from a coin block.
What do you guys
Seriously,
think?
what is up with these coin blocks? Are they a mass grave for the poor Goombas and Koopas who couldn't afford their own brick? Let me know what you think in the comments below. You could also get a coin by killing an enemy with a fire flower. If you think about it, killing an enemy with a fire flower really shouldn't reward you with anything. You just burned a Koopa to a crisp. He had a family! Now, you could also get a coin from killing an enemy with this guy. T. Yoshisaur Muncha Koopas just engulfs any enemy in his sights, and you get rewarded for it. How scary is that? Imagine this cute little dinosaur coming up to you. Well, if you want to interact with Yoshi, you better hope he's having a good day, or else you are toast, my friend. Toast. If Yoshi decides he wants an early lunch, he could just swallow you whole, turn your remains into a throwable egg, and send...
Bell is a proud sponsor of the Toronto International Film Festival and the Lisa's Living Room International Film Festival and the I Don't Even Have to Shower or Get Dressed for This Premiere International Film Festival.
Send your soul to the afterlife. There's just creepiness on top of creepiness on top of creepiness. How on earth can the cutest dinosaur you've ever seen actually be a devourer of souls? Yoshi really doesn't strike us as a demon-possessed character in need of an exorcism, but that's exactly what needs to be done. Luckily, Yoshi did get his in the end because you know those special Yoshi coins in Super Mario World? Of course you do. Well, they're probably the souls of dead Yoshis. You get what you give, buddy. So what about the bricks that don't give you any soul coins? Why do you think some bricks don't have coins? Did the soul simply move to a different brick, or could it be something even creepier? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, you're probably wondering why these are the only attacks that give you a coin for defeating an enemy. Well, I mentioned earlier that some people believe that your soul is removed from your body in the afterlife. Yoshi eats enemies and turns them into eggs. By turning them into eggs, the bodies are destroyed, so you get a coin. The fire flower can burn enemies to a crisp, destroying their bodies, so you get a coin. As you can see, collecting an enemy's soul seems to be related to destroying their body. Smashing a brick, eating an enemy, and burning them with a fire flower destroys their bodies and rewards you with a coin. I know what you're thinking. Well, if that's the case, then why doesn't Mario get a coin for spin jumping or regular jumping on an enemy? Well, I have a simple explanation, really.
Yeah, it makes
Mario doesn't destroy the enemy's body when he jumps on them. When Mario jumps on a Goomba, he squishes them to the point where you no longer see them on your screen, and it increases your score for a job well done. If only Mario would eat his Wheaties, he wouldn't have a problem destroying the bodies of his enemies and getting rewarded in the process. Now, I've only really focused on getting coins from bricks and enemies so far, but I know of, and I'm sure you know of, another way to obtain coins. There are coins scattered throughout the world that don't move. They stay in one place in the open, which is completely different from all the other coins we've seen thus far. If the soul has to be held inside of some kind of vessel or body, how is it just waiting in the open like that? Well, get ready for some science, because I did some research on this one. If you look at the bricks as the remains of the inhabitants of the Mushroom Kingdom, you could compare it to our skeletal remains as a human being. It's possible for a human skeleton to decompose in warm, damp conditions as bacteria and fungi can attack the collagen protein of the bones and decompose the body over a few years. It's possible that the environment of the Mushroom Kingdom could allow the same process to take place, so after a long time, the bricks will have decomposed to leave the soul exposed in the form of a lonely coin. You'll also notice that as you progress through the game and get to the later worlds, there are less and less coins out in the open. Could these be the souls of those who tried to rescue Princess Peach and failed before Mario came to the rescue? Well, it definitely makes sense to see a smaller amount of coins later in the game because the difficulty slowly ramps up, meaning fewer brave Toad warriors will get to the later worlds. Their numbers slowly dwindled until there were none. How depressing is that? Taking a look at a few of the other games in the Mario franchise seem to just make things even clearer to me. You guys all know about the boos, right? Those cute ghost enemies that follow Mario around when he's not looking but hide the second he turns toward them? Of course you do. What you probably don't know is that Shigeru Miyamoto based Boo off co-designer Takashi Tezuka's wife's personality, at his request, of course. Yeah, that's right. I've got the facts. The Gameology facts. Throw up a hashtag. Have you ever noticed that in Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine, boos have a coin inside them? It's a little detail you could have easily missed if you're not a gameologist. Some people believe that the spirit and soul are two different things, so it seems to make perfect sense, right? Boo is the spirit and the coin is the soul. Simple, but the question still remains, what are boos and where did they actually come from if you're either a brick or a coin in the Mario world once you die? But that's a whole other topic for another video. So what about the golden flowers from the new Super Mario Bros. Series, you ask? Yes, what about the golden flowers that give Mario multiple coins from defeating a single enemy? I know what you're thinking. If there are multiple coins coming from a single enemy, does that mean that they have multiple souls? Well, I don't think so, because you see, Mario likes to partake in hallucinogenic drugs. Just look at Mario's mushrooms. He eats them and suddenly grows. Did you ever think that they might simply make him believe he's bigger than he actually is? Wait, what? A conspiracy theory inside of a... of a conspiracy theory? It's conspiraception.
Oh, God.
The golden flower isn't much different from the mushroom. It gives the illusion of multiple coins when you're really just getting one. It just feeds into Mario's already terrible coin addiction that's gotten much worse throughout the years since the new Super Mario Bros. Games are centered around coin collection. There are coins everywhere in these games, to the point where you'd think that there was a crazy war or something. But this isn't Pokemon. So what does all of this make Mario? You know, the guy responsible for destroying all these bricks and collecting all these coins?